Hello and welcome to Sioux Online. Today we're at the OPSO Regional Office with the Interpin to discuss why Hydro One should be kept public. Ian is representing the Citizens Coalition Against Privatization. Before we start, Ian, why should the people of the Sioux even care about that? We are supplied by the PUC, which is owned by the city of Sault Ste. Marie.
One of the reasons why all municipalities have publicly owned hydro should be concerned about this is this will set a precedent for other governments and municipalities who are looking for ways to balance their budgets, as it'll open the door as a way for them to think that this is a good idea to sell off their publicly owned power assets as a way to meet their budget demands, and which will lead into the same issue that we're trying to educate the public about with Hydro One. It'll only result in rate increases, environmental issues, labor issues. There'll be no control over rate increases. The Ontario Energy Board will basically just be a rubber stamp at that point, and everybody's rates will go up because the difference between a publicly run entity and a privately run entity is it'll become profit will be the bottom line, not public service.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Okay, well tell us all about the process that they want to go through in selling off Hydro One.
Well, they want to tender it off in little pieces. I think the first piece is about 14%, and then they're just going to roll it up to the 16% target. But the farther along that this process gets, the less control the Ontario public have over the rate increases and maintaining a public service as a public service and having it actually meet the demands of the public. For instance, if there's a power failure in a privately owned enterprise, they're not going to want to pay overtime, they're not going to want to send crews out. There have been instances in places like Nova Scotia of equipment failures due to buying cheaper equipment, not wanting to send crews out in a blizzard because they don't want to pay overtime. So there'll be a difference between publicly owned and privately owned, because public is just worried about profit for your shareholders, and publicly run institutions are about service to the public.
Can you give me another example of a publicly owned entity being sold off that didn't work out so well?
407. 407 would be one of the major projects that was used as a P3 and sold off here in Ontario. And again, it's privately run. We have no control over the rates. We have no control over how well it's maintained. And all the money from the tolls is sent out of province, out of country, instead of back into the public purse. In which case, we could have been making the profits that maybe would have been required to meet these infrastructure demands and not have to sell Hydro One.